Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Bass Bonsai, back in the house. We went to the range, but you guys aren't going to see any of that footage because, oh boy. Anyway, and I'll just show you. And all these are cleared. I'll do double check for you guys. But I went to the range with the GoPro to get some footage, and what you see, that's all you see. I had the camera adjusted wrong. So, yeah. But we took our, basically the 19X style PSA Dagger clones out and shot them, and I wasn't impressed with this one. I got to work on it. The red dot isn't bad. I don't think I like it up there, but anyway, I'll talk about this one in another video. This one did pretty good. This one we had issues with, and the reason I'm making this video is I had a few guys wanting to know what I used, and I'll be honest, I don't recommend trying this because it does not technically work. We're going to get into it, though. We're going to talk about what has worked so far, what hasn't, and all that kind of stuff. I'll give you the brief. I'm going to try to give you the rundown, just a rough estimate in case you wanted to try to do this whole, take a dagger and write, other than using PSA stuff, which we sort of did here, but we went crazy, get aftermarket other ingredients to, get true Glock-like perfection, right? So I'm going to run you through real quick first what is in this, and then we'll talk about what I think it would need to work all the way. So actually, before I do that, there's a short out showing that it does function. The gun shoots, I think I only ended up maybe 20, 25, maybe 30. I don't know for sure how many rounds, but only like 2 at a time because it has feeding issues. Yeah, who would have thunk, right? So this is a Glock 26 slide, threaded barrel. That is a Harrington Arms. I don't know which number, H something, but compensator, which that part doesn't really matter. But trying to get a Glock 26 slide and barrel to work on basically a Glock 19 slide assembly or lower assembly. That's slide. It was a nightmare. So I got it to sort of work, but not really. So if you wait, this is just their PSA Dagger full size. And it says right here. Full size S lower. They're right now, I think they're like $59. They get as cheap as $49. Cheapest I've ever seen them. They don't come with the magazine or nothing else. That's an extra $30 if you can find them for $29.95 plus a little bit of shipping. But anyway, or just regular 17 round Glock or PMag will work. So you're going to be looking at, to get it to your door, though, that's just even at $49, you're going to pay a shipping fee. You're going to pay a transfer fee because that's considered the firearm. True cost is probably going to be anywhere from $70 to $90, depending on what they charge you, FFL, what shipping is at that time, and all that kind of stuff. So $49 or $59 is very cheap for lower, but by the time you get it to you, you can't go, unless you had a PSA store near you, you're going to have $75 to $90 in a lower, which is still cheap to start with because then instead of like going and buying a Glock, then starting buying all this other stuff, you can still get in it cheaper in the long run. The slides, you can get and I recommend trying to go with the PSA ones that come. A lot of people say they don't like the sights, but if they've already got the sights and all the internals in them, they're like $200. Sometimes you can get them as cheap as $185. But if you're looking for something in particular, eBay is probably the next best place for a cheap alternative. Just punch in, if you're looking for a Glock 19 slide, go to starting at the lowest price first, or you can go to the highest. I think they're on there up to almost $1,000 down to like $129. There's a wide range of slides you can get, complete, not complete, whatever. This one was a Glock 26. That is Leo Precision. I believe it was 100. It was almost $200. I didn't catch it on sale. I just decided I wanted to do this, so I bought that. The barrel is, let me drop this thing down. The barrel, oh, I know what I was going to show you guys. It does, and it did lock back on the last round. It just won't shoot that many rounds. But the barrel is a P80, and you get several different, threaded, just a Glock 26 threaded barrel if you wanted to try what I did, but I don't recommend it. I think I got it for like $85 off a Gunbroker. The trigger I am not happy with. I just stuck it in this one because I figured this is a, I guess you could say a firearm I'm stuck with for life, and I thought it may blow up, and if it did, it could take the Timney Alpha with it because I don't really care for that trigger. But I'll probably take that out and put it right back on. I don't know, maybe I didn't get that on eBay. But anyway, I'll probably send it down the road. I don't care for the reset on those. Glock Performance Trigger does the same thing, better at doing it in my opinion. So this, a lot of people have asked me, I don't think it even has a name brand. It's on eBay. If you type in Glock and put Alum, not aluminum, A-L-U-M, mag release, and it'll take you to that one. It's just a one with 2 screws, and it says it is aluminum, but just this piece. The actual part, I've had another video. It is basically the exact same thing that was in it, but already like drilled to accept this. So for like $24.99. And I do recommend, I just haven't done it. Since I have like 6 of these that would need it, to drop the $20 a pop to switch that out. That is my nemesis. I usually always, I have to like force myself to, and then once my mind's on that, keeping my thumb away from that, because my thumb just wants to ride right there and catch the very back of that, so the slides won't lock back. But that's just a surefire knockoff from AliExpress. I painted the black plastic parts to give it that more just all FDE look. And of course the hollow sun. Adding it all up without the hollow sun, because those sell for, even used, you're looking about $200. They're like $309 new. That's the ACS one, or ACSS, Vulcan reticle. But you can get red dots as cheap as $100. But you're looking around $500 or $600 for everything, probably, because I'm going to say $80 for the lower, almost $200 for the slide, $100 for the 80 something for the barrel, $7. I got the comp was on sale for under $100, and then if you count the trigger, but you don't need that. So it ends up jumping it up there. Like if you want the cheapest way you can go get a dagger is to check Palmetto's site when they have the whole pistol for sale for $285, $385, whatever, and just buy it, stipple it yourself. And the stippling I did myself. Oh yeah, and then the magazine. Oh boy, mine's the Magwell for the magazine. This one's been stippled to kind of blend in, and I would recommend that if you're going to stipple it yourself and buy one of these, just to do like I did, because on this one it's like solid. It's like part of the frame now, and you can glue it. One of them I glued and the other ones I didn't, but it doesn't move. The ones that come on, they actually come tighter, and then once you have shot some rounds like I have with this, I don't think it's going to come off like I'm pulling down, and it's not going to come off, but it does develop a little bit of a wiggle. Now you could glue that one on, and you wouldn't even need to use you could use a glue, basically what I'm saying, that would fill in the gaps but not permanently attach it like shoe glue. There's a couple types of glue that aren't 100% like what, a 5-part epoxy or nothing. They'll fill in the gaps, hold it, but then you just have to be clean on how you apply it, otherwise it'll look gunky. So anyway, I recommend, if you're going to get one of those printed magwells off eBay, they're like $25, to just stipple it in. Like on the FDE ones, it's like color's a little off, but not bad. So yeah, I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. It's like a 10-minute video. If you have any questions, maybe I totally spaced off, forgot something. These are just the cheap irons, a plastic, like 16 to 20 bucks off eBay. Because oh yeah, and then you have to buy. So when you get a strip slide, I'll finish with this. I guess it won't be a 10-minute video. The strip slide you're going to buy mean internals. If you want to run iron sights, even though you're going to run a red dot, so you can have some sort of co-witness, which you have with these, but they're almost too high. They're almost too much up, and then they take up too much of the window. In my opinion, you need something a little lower. The cheapest way to go is with those, but like I like the height of the shadow systems, and then the stock, well, I think they're considered a 2XL that come on this slide on the PSA ones. But you are going to have the cost of the slide that's stripped, whatever sights you decide to put on, and then you need an internal kit, which is a cheap way is like 25, 30 bucks, and you're still going to need a recoil guide rod, and like I mentioned, the magazine if you're getting just a lower, and a bag and all that stuff. But if you have any questions on it, comment below. That somebody wanted me to run through what I did there. I guess I'll take it apart for those of you that haven't seen it. It's in other videos. If you have not seen this thing, it's not pretty inside what I had to do, but I don't recommend this part. But you're going to want to get one. There's a certain, the guide rod is the trick also. If you're going to try to put anything, same thing with the Gen 5, I've mentioned it before. This guide rod, you can just Glock 26, it has to be this style. You'll see pictures of it. If you go and I think it's a Gen 4 maybe, I don't know, it's an older Gen. The Gen 5 Glock 26 won't fit. I got one somewhere. For the same reasons that the 19X won't fit. Yeah, here's the little one. So if you're trying to build up a PSA lower, the Dagger lowers, you do not want any of them that have the dual spring. They will not, there's just too much involved to try to get that basically cut out, even on this thing, to work. They will not work. You need the skinnier ones. And I think this one, oh yeah, this one, I did have to Dremel that. So let me talk about what you have to cut out. Now, don't do this unless you're a gunsmith. Or at the very least, you think you're a Glocksmith, which isn't really a thing. But to get this to work, I had to get this one, single spring, and then cut this down because it was just a little too on the Gen 5, if you see that. So after I did that, that part was fine, but then I had to completely take out some of that. So let me show you on this one that I had to also make work for the Gen 5 regular 19. So in it, I just had to, you don't have to mess with any of this stuff. It's just plastic you're taking away. So no issues there. This one, I was surprised that it held together. I just, you know, I like testing stuff. I like taking stuff to their limits. And if you can see how much I had to take off of that, I basically had to see how far it sticks up. And it kind of sticks up at an angle if you look at this. So like here, the metal part actually starts going up and out to catch the slide stops right there, just in front of that little extra plastic bushing. Well, with this one, I had to cut it straight up away from right there as far back as I could go. Otherwise, I'm completely losing any structural integrity of this when it comes back. So I've taken it back as far as I can, cut that out just like I did for the Gen 5. And then, as you saw, this thing complete, it does cycle through, and if you watch the video, it will, 2 rounds, no problem. You stick 2 rounds in a magazine, stick it in, rack it, shoot it, no problem. And as you saw, with the magazine in and when I was shooting, it never did fail to lock back. But when it does, it still needs to come back just a little further. It will cycle the next round on a very lightweight spring. But what was happening is it wasn't like failure to feed because it's too short. It's like failure to extract right. So I don't know if it's starting to extract. It needs to go back a little further to extract properly is what's causing my issue I'm having right at the moment. But yeah, like I mentioned, you slap just 2 rounds in. I did that 3 or 4 different times. Never had I mean, I haven't tested it completely. I'm just trying to get some rounds through it. Never had a problem. If I stuck 3 in, it was hit or miss. It may shoot all 3, or the very first one it would jam up on. You know, it would load it. You know, I could do this, and I was, you know, doing like slingshot. I was pulling it back, and then, you know, dropping as hard as it, you know, I could get it to go, and then it would either shoot all 3 or it would jam up on the first one because there was too much pressure, I guess, to let it extract right from the next one. So back to the drawing board. What it probably will have happen is I will, first of all, take one of these other slides and just see if it still works, because now I have the issue. And let me try to show you the issue I have now. So I can still work on this, and I may just leave it just like this and just, you know, a little range toy to go in there and shoot a couple rounds and have this, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted a completely functioning firearm. So what I may do is just get up there to the range. Let's just use this one. Slap on like this guy. And you guys comment about this. It just popped into my head. See these little buffer things? Couldn't I, in a sense, cut out the center and add 1 or 2 more right there? Basically make that a little thicker now that I have a slide that, in a sense, will be maybe going back too far. Anyway, let me show you what I'm talking about. So now, what I thought possibly I could do is just this. Put that on it, and it'll still be good. But when you come back, like, let me take it to. So take it back to there. So almost all of them, if you can see down in there, somewhere right in there is about as far back as they'll normally go. Well, this one, now that I cut it, it moves back extra, you know, way further than it should. Like, would that be a problem? I honestly don't know. Just like I didn't know, but I still went and shot it with that in it, and it did. It actually, there's no. Let me see. I double checked anything I could think of that could possibly have cracked, broke, or whatever, and so nothing seems to have failed in any way other than that. And it's like you'll still see the casing is just still in the barrel, like it just didn't extract it. But it hasn't jacked up any of the fire. You know, a lot of guys might have thought that it would, and it may eventually, after hundreds and hundreds of rounds, start, something else may give out. I don't know, but it seemed to, through, like I said, it's only like 20 some rounds. But anyway, now I'm done. If you have any questions, I would not suggest doing this. This, going just to make it to where it'll fit Gen 5, you're just taking a little bit of plastic off. You're not affecting any of the functioning things. You have to get the different guide rod. The slide, if you're ordering parts, just get the, you know, if you get a bare, like I found this one, you get a bare Gen 4 or 5 slide. You buy a parts kit for that generation because it has to be that. But then when you go to buy a guide rod, you need to actually just get a Gen 3 guide rod, and then that Gen 3 to 4 or 5 adapter, just that little copper colored piece. then you put that on a Gen 3 guide rod assembly, and then that's what lets that work. It's pretty much that simple. Now, if you're changing out trigger housing, like I also did, what's funny is, I know this video was just about, and I'm done with the Glock 26, but I'll finish it off with, if you guys can make that out. That is still a Glock, and we already had this thing out to the range. If you haven't seen that footage, go check it out. We put him up against this guy. We're going to do it again, but I could not come to a definite liking. I like both of these. I'll be honest. I lost the footage, but I put these two head-to-head, went out and shot. That video's up. You can go watch it right now. I enjoyed myself more shooting these two than when I got to the range. And maybe it's because this three, I knew I'd have an issue with that one. And then I actually had an issue with this guy. I don't even want to talk about it in a later video on the 19X. It shoots, but it's kind of got a lugginess to it. Hard to explain. And then that one was fine, but I don't know. I was trying to do too much at once. 3 guns up there, jacking around, trying to go ahead and sight them in somewhat. So far, my favorite of them all would be this guy, and then the ported one right behind him. But the lower, I don't know. And maybe it's just because I have a little more time in those than I do these. But yeah. And where do you go? Still, I don't know if any of them can still touch a shadow systems. I know some people love, some people hate shadow systems. This one, as you saw, it was empty. This firearm here has, it just has that little bit. Now these, actually, let me put this one together. This is probably my next favorite of the fact that I'm in it. Not very much money. It's probably my next favorite and maybe my best shooting one. This one without, like, I like this one better the way it is. This one the way it is without a comp or porch or anything. This one's a little more enjoyable, but as far as the fit and feel and when you're out shooting, like these two are very, very close. And then this one is even to them, but I'll be honest, for as much as it's got in it, it's got the Ranger-proof trigger and the Glock Performance trigger assembly in it. And I actually have the Shadow Systems barrel in it. But I feel, I don't know, I guess maybe I shouldn't, but I feel like I should have it should just be a little better than what it is. And the trigger does what it does better than these two when you're sitting here at the bench doing it, but when you're out shooting them, I like this trigger better. Pull and all that, reset is very close. The pull weight is heavier than that one, but when I'm out shooting, and I feel like I'm a little more accurate right at the moment with this guy. And this has a more expensive barrel, but it's got the Strike Industries comp. This is just a cheap $45, $50 eBay barrel. I guess, and that part shouldn't really matter though. A little more wiggle here. I don't know. This thing, I like this. I like this one. I like this one. That one. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have enough time to like them all. But I'll be honest. I know this is kind of a Glock video, but it's already 23 minutes. Might shoot for under 30. I may like this one the best. No, actually now that I've tweaked on the shadow systems, like when I bought this one, I bought it used, I bought this new. The trigger was atrocious. I guess it hadn't had any stuff done to it. It was a lot of stuff. I see why they had it, which I felt was pretty cheap. And I was like, how's that still there? Because these sell for like $12.50, and it didn't, still had it was all stock. It had the Holosun. It's got the ACS now, but it had the Holosun 507C threaded barrel. It said War Poet on it. It was sitting there. It didn't look brand new. Like it didn't look brand new now if you really get up and look at it. It still looks very good, but you can tell it is a little used. I did quite a bit of work to it, and now, honestly, this one feels better. It's got a better trigger than this, a little better feel overall. This one's still it's like just stock. Like I haven't, like this one, yeah, it doesn't have many rounds through it. Like, so it's still, honestly, the trigger still needs a break in. This thing's been broke in, and then cleaned and tweaked again. And so it's perfect as you can get for the Glock. And then this one's like right there already with it. And all it is the trigger shoe. And then I added just a little something to shorten the take up, because this, and it wasn't just because I didn't like how much it had, it was because this trigger shoe, it moved out just enough that it had, you could see a gap like where it does get narrower, and I'm like, that looks weird. So I took it up and I checked it, it's still on the shelf and all that, and it's like right there, you can't engage it without engaging the safety. I made sure all that was good, but man, it was good. Don't like the trigger in that one. This one's just stock with the plastic shoe. It's not bad. This trigger, as you guys see, it is empty. I would say it's a good trigger, but it's way better than the stock one. But for $50 and you adjust this and adjust that, I feel that for 45 or even 50, but you can find these, and there's some on there they'll say $49.95 or best offer. Offer them 40, they'll probably take it. Or go through the actual true Tyrant one. That's a Tyrant trigger. This is a Lone Wolf. I think I like. I don't know if it's this one has more of a curve. But I mean, it felt good. I just think if I had to pick, I'm still this trigger over all of them, because this one probably feels as good while you're out shooting or better than the Ranger Proof. Ranger Proof looks cooler, but when you for me, and I guess as new as I am, that like I don't know, I just feel that for if they were the same price, yeah, I would probably stick with Ranger Proof. But these are, I got a deal on it for $75. These are like $94 with no discount stuff. Even the Tyrant one is like $75. That can be had. You can maybe even message them. I want to say SD20 was the code I used from another YouTuber. And if I can remember his name, to get the Ranger Proof. And I like it, the fact that you can go on there on their website and order that the way I did, but then it actually is almost copper orange looking like what the Shadow System. So if you want one for Shadow Systems, that's a copper color would be a good way to go, but with to match a Shadow Systems barrel. But if you're trying to match up to the PSA color, if you guys can make it out, and it's not horribly off, but it's definitely a brighter, like, I don't know if the camera will show it, but in person, it matches way closer to the Shadow Systems than it does the PSA one. PSA one, actually, their stuff does match up close to this knockoff light stuff, very close. And to the, they're almost identical to the cheap $50 eBay barrels. So anyway, that's it for sure. Half-hour video. Hopefully you like this video. I didn't even mention it, but I guess it doesn't do any good. I'm doing gun videos now, so like all my crap, what can be monetized is like limited or whatever. I've gone through and I'm getting about as much and as many views and watched hours and all that, probably as much or more when I was doing fishing, but I'm making less money, like half the money, because everything, I don't know how they do it, but they definitely try to take and turn you off from putting out gun videos, any kind of shooting, no matter how safe or just how, I mean, it's like it's a crime to want to enjoy shooting firearms for pleasure or what, you know, for whatever reason. If, you know, you're shooting firearms, you're not shooting at people, it shouldn't be any of their business. But anyway, I guess digress, and would appreciate it if you would hit the like button. Subscribe to Bass Bonsai if you haven't already. We're going to get out fishing. It's a nice day today. I'm like, man, it'd be a nice day to go fishing. And I looked at the water and I'm like, that water's still frozen. It doesn't know it's 65 degrees out. It thinks it's still negative 15 like it was a couple weeks ago. Anyway, yeah, I know you go out there and blow some holes in it, right? Yeah, you could if you're out in the country and you're on private property. And yeah, don't do it though. Don't do it. See you guys later. I'll be putting out a video, probably going to be taking off some stuff, moving it to eBay. No, I'm not selling any firearms here. You can't sell a firearm on eBay, but I can sell the parts I bought off eBay right back on eBay and different stuff because Bass and Bonsai, we got some leftovers now. We've got some leftover fishing gear that I got to get situated that I meant to sell over the winter, didn't get that done. Income tax coming out, so I got some rod and reels if you guys are interested in any of that stuff, and some of these as compensator. These that I can't use at all that are brand new. I bought them new and just never, they won't work anything. This I actually work in the shadow systems. I may put it with it. I haven't decided yet. But if I abandon this deal, I'm going to put the slide and the barrel right back where I got it, and then I'll probably redirect that comp towards something else. Maybe cut it flush. I thought about doing that, cutting it flush and sticking it on this guy. I may do that. I don't know. I'm trying to make myself like. I loved this slide when I first saw it, and then I got it in person, and I just can't make myself. I even tried sanding it because I think it's just a color. I thought about sending it to get Cerakoted to as close as what they could get to 19X. Color, seeing if I like it, but that's an expensive send-off if it comes back and you're like, I still don't really like it. But I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't like it as much as I thought I would, I guess. ZP slide, nothing wrong with it. It's I mean, I actually end up usually grabbing it right here, checking it, or I'll be honest, this thing here is almost like perfect for grabbing this. Oh, well, I'm right there, and I know 30-minute videos, they always, you could leave whenever you want because I like talking about different stuff that's on my mind. It pops in my mind while I'm making these videos. I still can't recommend that red dot. I got it cheap, like 85. They're like 100, 109. I, did the whole getting it on sale. It still has a. I mean, it comes right on, shuts right off. If you hold the down button to turn it off, just tap the up button to turn it on. And it goes through all its little motions. So, yeah, I can't really say, I can't knock it yet because we did get to the range and shot, I don't know how many rounds, but so far I don't see any true issues other than just me going, I don't know if I like it or not. Because it doesn't have the... There's a difference between a closed emitter, a non-enclosed emitter, and then these that aren't waterproof. They actually don't have any cover back here where the basically the emitter, the LED, the light is coming out of the casing and hitting the window. So what that leaves you with is you could literally get that thing so clogged up, but you couldn't get it cleaned out. Like if you're a dirty person. And definitely, you could just be throwing it in a bag here or there, go out to shoot, and it could get something in there that would throw off the thing. And so that's why I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to keep those, and I definitely don't want to recommend them. And this one's the same way. I like this one better, but it's that same way. It's got that little hole. It's a hole. You can even see on this one, if you look, you can see a blue wire. You can see down inside this red dot. Now, I've liked this one, the way it works. It's the same way, and I like it's got a bunch of different... it actually has more than Holosun or that other Votatu or any of them. So it cycles through like basically 3 different outer ones with or without the red dot, so it ends up being like 6, but you basically have the crosshairs and the circle and the dot, or you have just the crosshairs or just a like quarter circle. It's basically like 4 little things almost making the circle. So I don't know, it's pretty cool, and you could definitely fine tune it to which one you prefer over the others. And yeah, so but either one of these, they're not like an automatic. You just set them to whatever brightness you're dealing with at the time, and then they don't self-adjust or none of that. Which this one was like 85, 90 bucks also. They're 120 right now. I have not found them any cheaper. I was going to buy another one for 100. If I could have found one under 100, I was going to buy the FDE one to slap on my 19X just to try it. But what I found was a deal on Sightmark, the mini shot FDE one for 140. So I figured before I spend 120 on one of those that I'm already iffy about, I've heard good and bad things about the Sightmarks. They look better. I think they have a little more features than these. So for $20 more, I got one coming for 140. I'll probably slap it on that 19X just to see. This one, I can honestly say I do like this. And there's something to be said about a single button. But it's not enclosed either, I don't think. Nope. If it has anything going for it, though, it's actually even a bigger hole that you could stick tweezers down in there and pull anything out, probably. But so I definitely don't plan, if I 100% want to keep this or send it off to get it milled, it won't be with that red dot. So if the Sightmark, if I really like the Sightmark because it kind of reminds me of the Delta Point Pro and a lot cheaper, then I may go ahead and do that. But that's just things on my mind. All right, guys, I'm gone for sure. See you later.